Well, we are on the cusp of Labor achieving a majority. We do believe they'll get there, but it's not certain just yet. Why is that? Well, first of all, the state of the parliament before this election is crucial. That's Labor's starting point. As you can see, 69 seats. We know that this looks very different now in terms of the crossbench in particular and the drop in the coalition. But while it says Labor on 72, 69 is the key number because we're going to look at seats they've lost. We're putting in the column, so not in that definitive 72-51 number, but where we can project they'll go, and then also seats they've gained. So gains versus losses. 9 seats the Labor Party has won from another party, from the coalition. That gets them from 69 up to 78. But we take away 2. They've lost Griffith and they've lost Fowler, back to 76. So that is the barest possible majority. They can't afford any net losses from there. That means this majority comes down to these 6 seats. 3 held by Labor. They want to hang on to all of them. If they do that, it doesn't matter what happens in these blue seats. If they lose any of those, you're in a situation where Labor needs to win one of the blue seats. Now, they are in a good position overall. We'll take you through why, first of all. We believe Macnamara, first of all, will be a hold for Labor. The numbers at the moment in Macnamara are a solid Labor lead. The difference and the issue here at the moment is just the fact that we're talking about Labor having to have a battle here against the Greens. So going to Victoria from Macnamara, we'll wait for more preferences to get in particular how the postals are trending, but absent votes too. You can see at the moment Labor ahead 53-49, and that would normally be the margin you'd call, but it is going to be a different sort of number on absent votes, and we just want to see if the postal vote numbers hold up as they are now with another box of them, if you like, counted, then we'll be ready to call that. So that could be close, and that would get Labor in a better position, as you see, with these projections right now. So if Macnamara is off the endangered list, as we think, Labor needs to hang on to Gilmore and Lingiari, and it holds on to government. How we place? We've got some projections based on how postals are flowing so far and also how absent votes and declaration pre-poll are likely to flow. They won't be counted from tomorrow. Let's take you through those projections right now for the seats that will decide if Labor forms a majority government. First of all, Lingiari. So you can see the current two-party preferred. That's where we're at right now, 51-2-3 to Labor, 48-7-7 to the Liberal Party. On this projection, Labor stays ahead, 50.48. Now, we want to just see a little bit more information there. For example, how the absent votes are breaking. We might not find that out tomorrow, or the rest of the postal votes before we firm that up. But that's, even though it seems tight, that's a clear enough lead if that holds with a few more votes coming in. So that would be good news for the Labor Party. They'd tick that off. The next seat is tighter. So Gilmore, again, this is currently a Labor seat. You can see on these projections, we actually have the Liberal Party ahead, but that is a tiny number, 50.15 versus 50.25. So the number of votes you're talking is 306 votes. That's the difference. You do not need a big difference in the number of votes flowing in an absent way, in a postal vote way to flip that and have Labor winning it. But the point is, for this exercise, we're stress testing this Labor majority. So if they do lose that, then they're one down, then they're on 75 as we get to the next seat. So can they make that back? Let's look at Deakin first of all. This is a definite possibility for Labor. At the moment, with the flow of postal votes in particular, we have this seat flipping. So it's 50.54 for Labor, 50.37 for the Liberal Party with the current flow we're projecting. That again is too tight to be definitive about at the moment. So we're not predicting this as a Deakin hold, but that's the projection at the moment. And then you still have Labor on 75. Then we get to Bennelong. And this right now could be whether or not Labor gets a majority. You see the current 2PP, 51.08. So the good thing for the Labor Party right here is even with the postal flow at 50.70, they would hold on to that on our current projection. We just want a bit more information, and we want to see how that postal flow is going right now to call that seat. If we do that, we'd be very close to calling a Labor majority. So that's how close it's getting right now. Let's delve into that just a little bit more as well. So Bennelong, this seat that could mean Labor has a majority. How that's going right now on postal votes is 54-3-6 to Simon Kennedy, 45-6-4 to Labor. But if that postal flow continues at that rate, that's good news for Labor. They'll win the seat. You can see the swing to Labor is 12%. That's because last time around the postal flows went 66 to the Liberal Party, 34. If they were flowing that way, this seat could tick over the Liberal Party. They're not so far. You can see 6,000 votes in, about another 10,000 or so to come. So if we get a few thousand in, and that's the continued trend, will be calling out for the Labor Party. So that's the confidence on that factor. And the other thing as well, so let's just go back and remind ourselves, these are the 6 seats. We think Labor holds these. We think they might lose Gilmore, but then win Bennelong to make it up. That's still a bare majority of 76. From there, they'd want a buffer, but also maybe enough to get a speaker, and that's where Brisbane comes in. If we look at the seat of Brisbane right now, this all comes down to the primary vote. This is held by the Liberal Party. Trevor Evans, though, will lose this seat. He can't win at 36.98. It all comes down to who gets ahead out of Liberal and Labor. And you can see the gap there. Let's look at the gap in pure vote terms. The gap at the moment is sitting at, 184 votes. So that's how close that is right now. And if that does flip between those two, just doing the quick maths, perhaps it's 178. But if that does flip, if Labor gets ahead, likely they'll hold with the rest of those preferences. And once Labor's in second position, they would win that seat over the Liberal Party. So it is looking eminently gettable right now. You'd have Labor as the clear favourite to form a majority. We will see. We'll continue to keep an eye out for updated votes.